here in San Francisco, and we're going to be starting into a series of videos on the topic of charisma and the different benefits that you could get from becoming more magnetic, more compelling, having gravitas, being the kind of person who is generally attractive in your energy. But we also want to get into the problems that this is causing your life, the way that it's making it where people aren't paying attention to you, they don't care about you, they're not excited to see you, they're not taking you seriously.
They don't like you.
Yeah, they actually don't like you. Or other people maybe at your work are getting credit for the hustle that you're putting in because they're getting the credit because, frankly, people will generally have a favorable bias to those people who they get good emotions from. And if this has been a problem in your life, or even if you have a lot of charisma right now and you're not hitting your potential with it, this is the beginning of a series of videos that we're going to be doing on the topic of charisma to really drill down and get this solved, okay? This is gonna be a dark cloud in your life that we're committed in this series of videos to getting solved, to saying, you know what? We're gonna actually put aside a moment of our lives together here and get this down and make it a priority because frankly, it's not gonna fix itself. It's like, if I skip getting a tooth cleaning, next thing you know, I'm gonna have to get a root canal. If I don't take care of different aspects of my life, it's gonna compound and create a nightmare.
So that's the thing, because people think that it'll just stay the same. If I don't take care of it, it'll stay the same. But no, it will actively become worse as you grow older and grow more calcified in your belief systems, and your rationalizations that you defend this inability to express yourself become more and more Byzantine, more and more convoluted. And again, it just becomes this situation where now you're locked in and it's done. You are done.
Yeah, as you get older, your mind is probably not getting looser, right? It's probably not taking on new information more easily. So the sooner you get this handled, the better, because whatever direction the momentum is going, that's going to keep compounding. It's going to become exponential. It's like compounding interest. So that being the case, the main purpose of this video number 1 in this series that we're going to shoot together this evening, we're going to have them coming out over the coming weeks, is really to drill down on the pain that this is causing you. Later, we're going to go into the how-to, we're going to go into the meta-level theory, but right now, we want to motivate you to even focus on this. So the first step here is we want to talk about the pain of this, the direction you're going, almost like the movie with Scrooge. I forget what it's called, right? Because we're actually coming up on Christmas, right? The Christmas Carol.
The classic Charles Dickens tale.
And it's showing you where this is going. So we want to drill down on the pain this is causing you and bring it to your attention, but also showing you where this is going. I remember when I first went to my chiropractor as an example, the first thing they showed me was they took an x-ray and they showed me what a normal spine is supposed to look like, and then they showed me my spine. And that gave me a lot of motivation to get chiropractic treatment. Now I get a lot of compliments on my posture. I don't know if that's true or not, but I hear that. I actually don't know enough about it. I should get another x-ray. Point being is right now, we want to do that x-ray on you, and we really want to drill down. So the first thing I'd ask you, first question number 1, do people take you seriously? Are they excited that you're coming? Another question I'd ask you is, when your friends are talking about you behind your back, what is it that they're saying about you? Are you one of those people where, because you're not that fun, any little problem that you'd have, they focus on that and they have negative things to say about you? Or are you one of those people who's so fun that even if you have these different problems, they'll overlook it? Are you somebody who can easily get a promotion because people have a favorable bias towards you because of the fact that you have a lot of great charisma? So even if you're not working as hard, things just come easy to you, or is that not the case? Are you somebody who even gets the just credit for your work that you're supposed to get? Are you somebody who has a lot of value that you might offer to a prospective romantic partner and they're seeing the value of that? Or are they actually ignoring that value? Because frankly, people generally tend to be very much decision makers based on emotions. And so you might have so much to offer, but they're thinking negatively of you and maybe don't want to date you or be around you simply because of the fact that they're not getting a lot of good emotions from you. See, what we've generally learned is that in life, the one thing that anybody can fix right now is their charisma. You might not have millions of dollars. You might not be in the best shape. You might not have a ton of social connections. You might not have a lot of opportunities. But one thing as a leverage point, a high leverage point that you can fix literally right now is your charisma, and then you'll begin to stumble into all these different opportunities. So that's the first question we have to ask you is, where do you rank yourself in these areas? From 1 to 10, where do you rank yourself on how interesting you are? 1 to 10, where do you rank yourself on how whether or not people actually take what you have to say seriously?
1 to 10, what do you rank your ability to express yourself emotionally? 1 to 10, what do you rank your ability to express yourself physically? Because again, you could have the most glorious and beautiful internal world in terms of your emotions and the way you view things and how you treat other people. But the bare fact of the matter is, nobody knows a damn thing about you until you express it externally through one of the various 3 projective capacities: your face, your voice, your movement through space. And so many, like, again, this begs the question, why do we care? Because we're such great philanthropists? Well, yes. But also because for the past 17 years, both you and I have been going out there and training people live in the real world how to meet other people pretty much every weekend, again, for the past 17 years. And in order to do that, in order to be an effective coach in that capacity, each weekend we sort of have to enter the dark world of the students that we interact with, to empathize with them and see where they're coming from, and then bring them back out. And I see every single weekend, pretty much every single weekend, people who are just so shut down. They cannot communicate externally. Hands in the pockets, slumped shoulders, sad face, serious, anxious, deadpan, it's an acronym. Just monotone voice, or they speak in certain ruts that are not compelling. And and the interesting thing about this is very often, they don't even know that they're doing this because
so crazy.
It's sub-threshold. These repressions have sunk in so deeply over so many years as a consequence of a variety of counter-conditionings that are perpetuated by society. And again, that's a topic for another video. But again, it's sub-threshold and they're unaware. And even when you bring it up to them, they may not believe you, or they may defend these inexpressive behaviors as choices that they're making for a particular reason.
We're gonna have to do a whole section on that, by the way.
So yeah, it's very, very fascinating. So again, week in and week out, I've seen this, and look, we're masters of teaching technique of how to socially interact with people. Like, what are the best ways to speak to someone in a way that helps your horizontal plot development, so to speak. Those are things that we've learned, and we've learned to coach people how to do. We've learned ourselves. We've learned to teach over the course of the past 17 years. However,
in the gritty, brutal reality of coaching live, by the way.
It's not academic. This is real world.
Elbows in the mud.
Rubber meets the road. Elbows in the mud, in the trenches, so to speak. So, time and time again, we saw guys who have engaged with our material very deeply. They can quote it almost better than we can, right? They understand what they're supposed to do, but something's paralyzing them, preventing them from taking action. And again, very often it's sub-threshold, which is infuriating.
We'll be getting into that as
well.
well.
But then here's another interesting thing. Very often it's also above threshold. They know that they're supposed, and that's almost more heartbreaking, because they know that they're supposed to be taking these actions, but they can't, and they can't understand why they can't. It's because of this inability to project energy.
And let's be clear about this, that as we've learned all this, that has a great value, objectively speaking, for someone to come and learn. So when you look at that objective value that we've cultivated, quality teaching, that's one aspect of the business that we built. But let's be blunt here. We've built an 8-figure-a-year business over nearly 2 decades. And if you think that the way that we built this business was just from objectively having solid content or objectively being able to help people, that wasn't it. That wasn't how we became the market leaders in what we did. If you think about it, the raw way that we became the market leaders in what we did was from charisma. And I want you to really think about this here, because if you look at the way that we built our business, it was primarily through organic traffic. And please, I understand that that's probably something a little bit over your head. We're happy to share some of this with you and how that works. Look at almost any other self-development teacher. They're building their business through paid traffic. In our previous subject matter, we could not do paid traffic. That was not a possibility. So we built this specifically from organic traffic, right? So people used to say to me, oh, your business is like the 900-pound marketing gorilla in the room. You're like this huge organization that has all these marketing dollars. That's how you built it. We didn't build this with marketing dollars. We built this with organic traffic.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth, organic traffic. And so what happened was, we had to actually come across as being the most charismatic. So think about this. We became market leaders basically from a raw charisma. No different than if we go into a nightclub venue and we're out there meeting people, they don't know who we are.
Nope.
And literally from raw charisma right there on the spot, we've got to build that up. So this was literally like fighting in the trenches, like battle royale, fighting in the trenches. He or she who is the most charismatic wins the battle. And we did this both in venues, but we did this also online and in organic traffic-based videos for years and years and years, building that up to an 8-figure business. Do you think that the main reason that we were able to build that was just from quality of product? No. The word of mouth, for sure, as you mentioned, because you mentioned word of mouth, that's important too. That did come from quality. That came from producing results. And a lot of our business is word of mouth. But the aspect online where people are making a buying decision, who are we going to spend money with, that came from raw charisma. And that's what we're trying to get at here with you, is that you're hearing about the actual product quality. But what does it come down to people connecting to that content? If you want to connect them to the content, people have to want to listen to what it is that you have to say. Now, let's also be clear. How tall are you?
5'7.5".
Okay, 5'7.5". Okay, and I am 5'8.5". Okay, we're not exactly sitting here as Instagram model studs.
Chad.
Okay, we're not.
Alpha Chad.
We're not coming from that frame,
as they say.
Okay, we're sitting here as middle-aged, pasty, short little dwarfs communicating this, and we got to have a lot of energy.
And my axe. It's from Lord of the Rings, okay?
I thought you said X for a second. I'm like, axe. Yeah. So between the axe and between learning how to manage with energy, we were able to do free associative improvised speeches all over the world, videos that we come up with off the cuff, get it out there, and get people to connect to our content. But see, this is what's so important. We love our content. We love the ideas that we share, but we also understood that even though for us, we bleed for those ideas, we believe in those ideas, we want to share those ideas, we want to connect you with those ideas because objectively, on an objective standpoint, those ideas change lives. On a subjective standpoint, to get you or anybody to pay attention to it, you have to understand charisma. You have to understand how to be captivating. And literally, we would spend, you did this in the grind of the karaoke scene, becoming a cherry karaoke champion. And in my case also, I was going to look at the most charismatic people in the world and going and studying under them and seeing how they're communicating. Because look at even Anthony Robbins. And we've been to his live events. Anthony Robbins has incredible content, but you know what? There's also another guy you've never heard of called Richard Bandler. And Richard Bandler, my understanding, I may be messing this up because, again, I haven't even paid attention to it. Right. Richard Bandler is, from my understanding, the guy who created NLP. And Anthony Robbins teaches sort of his branch of NLP. But you probably never heard of Richard Bandler.
He also had a partner.
Oh, yeah, Grinder. Or
Grinder.
Like that,
I don't even know that guy's first name.
Yeah, or I learned about spiral dynamics from Anthony Robbins. And then, I'd heard from a few places, but that he would teach some of that content and share it. He would credit Don Beck. I went to learn from Don Beck, and Don Beck was amazing. We went really deep. We went way deeper than we did at the Anthony Robbins seminar. Right. But when Don Beck teaches it, he's like, this is the orange spiral. I took a week-long intensive with Don Beck in Santa Barbara. Amazing. Thank you, Don, if you're watching. But to be fair, this is the orange spiral. This is the green spiral, right? And you're literally struggling to stay awake. And the classroom has about 15 to 20 people in it. Anthony Robbins has 15 to 20 people. If this is the room, 15 to 20 people is like this, okay? I've been in rooms with Anthony Robbins with 15 or 18,000 people, and he has seminars even bigger than that. So the person with the great value to offer, say Don Beck or say Richard Bandler, their rooms are a fraction the size of the room of Anthony Robbins. Why is that? Because Anthony Robbins has mastered what's called the delivery vehicle. He has mastered getting that out there. So you can say, what Bandler did or what Don Beck did is more deep and profound. Okay, cool. But how many people did it connect to? So if you have great value to offer, what I'd ask you is, okay, good for you. Great for you. Golf clap. You have great value to offer. But how many people are you connecting that value to? Maybe you're an incredible person who'd want to meet an incredible partner to have a meaningful connection with or to have fun with. But is that connecting? How many times have you been out and seen someone who you like run off into the sunset with someone who doesn't have half the value that you have to offer because it's not connecting? That is what the art form of being charismatic or compelling, magnetic, having gravitas, being able to connect. And by the way, everybody does it differently. I'm more kind of spastic. I have a more high-pitched voice. Some people don't like it or find it grating, but there's a lot of people who do connect to it. Jeff is more ironic. He's more irreverent. Jeff's a little bit more rapport-breaking, and some people connect to that. There's other people, and we're going to make a whole video about this, that are like a silent assassin. They're quiet, they're laid back, but they're doing that as a choice, and they may connect with people in a different way. You could even be more serious and connect. There's many different ways of doing it.
You don't have to be extroverted necessarily. It's like Anthony Robbins versus Eckhart Tolle. They're flip sides of the same coin. But what you're talking about there is utterly fascinating to me because I think a lot of people, especially younger people, they're very idealistic and they're living in a fantasy world. Like if I just be a good person, if I just get the good product, everything will resolve. And there's some harsh truths that are going to smack you in the face necessarily. One of my old copywriting mentors used to say, there's tons of products in the marketing graveyard that were amazing products, but because they didn't have the correct presentation, they just languished and died, and no one knew about them and no one benefited from them. So it's the same thing with your personal brand, so to speak, as you navigate the world, as you navigate the workplace, as you navigate your relationships with your friends and family, as you navigate everyday interactions with cashiers or authority figures, as you navigate romantic relationships and you're trying to meet people for romantic relationships. All of this comes into play as an ability to project energy, okay? So here's an interesting thing to think about. When faced with this harsh truth about the reality of the world, you can become bitter. Like, this isn't fair.
Why don't they get it?
It isn't fair. Well, maybe it's not, but maybe your mommy and daddy should have told you the classic axiom, life isn't fair. I learned that at a very young age. I believe you did as well, just due to circumstances.
I did.
You know, and some people may have not been fortunate enough to learn that at an early age, but guess what? We're here to tell you that's what's up. Now, the good news is you can change this. You can move from A to B. You can improve this. It's not some mystical quality that you either have or you don't. Again, you can learn how to identify and release these tensions internally. Again, and there's many, many reasons that give rise to these, again, internal blockages, but you can identify them, you can single them out, we can exercise them in isolation, and then we can reintegrate them into your total instrument for full charismatic expressive potential.
So bottom line is this. One of the most insulting things that I'll hear, but also a compliment simultaneously, is, oh, I don't have that charisma like you have. Oh, and I've heard people say that about Jeff too. I don't have that thing that Jeff has. I'm different. I'm different from that. You either have it or you don't. And when I hear that, I think, first of all, what an insult as far as the journey that both of us had to go through, as if somehow we weren't in the exact same boat, as if somehow, I mean, it's like if you come into a clean room and then you say, oh, I'm not one of those clean room people like you. I'm one of the messy room people. I don't know how my room got messy. No, your room got messy because you chose not to address it. We understood in our early 20s that if you don't address this, it's gonna be a problem, and it's gonna be a compounding problem. And we knew even in our early 20s that by age 40, this was gonna be a mess. Conversely, if you have the kind of power and different societal prestige that you can build up by 40, and you have charisma, you're in an amazing ability to choose the direction of your life, because you have now, because see, here's what's funny. Most older people, they've accrued maybe some power, or some different connections or different advantages, but they're not very charismatic, they're boring. But then younger people, they can sometimes be more fun, but they haven't accrued power. What we want to see for you is that by the time you're older, you have charisma and power. And by the way, in a future video in the series, we're also going to talk about how charisma can lead to you as a foundation for getting that kind of power or making money, where there's a translation there, like what we talked about in building an 8-figure-year business and growing. So, and really off raw, pure charisma doing organic traffic in the past. So understand here that you're not a person who has this or you don't. This is like cleaning your room. This is making a decision to say, this is a mess in my life. I want to clean it up. Here's the advantages of that. And by the way, having this down will have a lot more advantages than just a clean room has. So the main purpose of this video, this was called the wake up video, in effect. The wake up video.
Yeah, you got to wake up. And you got a big thing, stop the self-deceit.
Yeah.
Just stop it. Okay, so many people, they know on a deep visceral level. Like, I know guys who I'm close friends with, and all these guys do is they talk about college football or this or that. And I have other friends of mine that are my assistant crew, and they see these guys like, do these guys go out? Do they speak? Do they meet people? No, that's all they do. They're like, do they even care? I'm like, on a deep visceral level, internally, they have to know this is a problem. They seem to have no interest in socializing. So what came first? The isolation or the inability to socialize? Again, it's a chicken or egg situation, but on a certain level internally, they have to know that this is something that's important.
And it winds up with them becoming creepy too, because what happens
eventually,
is,
yeah.
Yeah, we always say that the most creepy people are the people who don't learn this, because it comes out in weird, freaky ways.
Yeah, it's not like they're just they're just being harmless and benign all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, it's really, really freaky. I mean, you know, if you've seen some of these like anime films that, you know, that come from these interesting places where they're involving tentacles and weirdness and things like that, that is literally that industry.
Anime is an important part of our culture.
I actually love anime, but there's anime that I love, and then there's anime where I go, okay. Like, all right, okay. And, you know, like tentacle anime, where does that come from? That's coming from people that have a lot of repression. See, it always comes out, right? That inability to connect with other people, it's always gonna come out in some way or other, right? It's like when we're at the bar and we're having fun meeting people, and then that same person who criticizes us for going out and meeting people kind of pops up beyond your shoulder and goes, hey, 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 yeah, you know, and you're like, yo, what's up? You said that you don't even think this is cool a minute. You were criticizing for me for this a minute ago. They're like, I still do.
Now I want to jump on the train, yes.
He's creepy, not like me. I'm the real one. I'm the real one. No, you're not the real one. Failing to learn charisma doesn't make you the real one. You're not the sincere one. You're just the person with the messy room saying that you couldn't clean it. That's all you are. So in this video, this video is the first of a series of videos.
Stop the lies.
Okay? Just stop the lies.
The lies to yourself, the lies to other people, the lies to the world in general. Otherwise, you're just like that meme with the dog sitting in the burning building, drinking his tea, saying, this is fine, as the house burns down around you.
Okay.
Again, this sounds harsh, but you know why? You know why we're bringing this in this kind of aggressive manner? It's because we see it every weekend, and it infuriates me. It breaks my heart. Like just a couple weekends ago in Vancouver, I had 2 clients who were extremely shut down. And over the last 6 months to a year, I've been very intensely working on my new program that addresses these things. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at a point where I was like, man, I'm in a hole of just work and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And then it was as though the divine entity, like God had placed these men in front of me in order to reassure me. Like, yes, Jeff, you're on the right track. This is why you're doing this. So these people can actually have a life and not just be a piece of furniture.
Isolated.
Or not even a piece of furniture, a non-entity. They're like ghosts. They would go and speak to people, and the people would just act as though they weren't even there.
It's sickening. And the bottom line, we're gonna be starting this in the first video in the series. The bottom line is this: you gotta say, I'm sick of this, okay? I'm done. Say this right now. Just say, I'm done.
Ya basta.
Done. This makes me sick. I'm done with this. Today's the day. Today's the day that you make a decision. No more.
Stop.
We're going to get this down. Stop.
Stop accepting the mediocrity.
No more of the tentacles. Okay? No more of the creepery. No more of not connecting. No more of other people getting credit for your work. No more getting ignored.
No more Baby Yoda Rule 34. Okay? No more.
What is that?
You don't want to know.
Okay. So, okay, no more. And what we're going to be proceeding into is the next step, which is we want to talk about the way that this can actually help you to benefit your life. We're going to be going deep on that and ways that you can leverage this in order to have an incredible life. We're also going to be going into the meta level understanding of this, as well as going into the how-to. So this is to just smack you, get your attention, get you ready, get you primed. We're going to be learning about how to master charisma in this course on Charisma Mastery. We're going to be back with more very soon. We're literally just about to go keep shooting right now. This is enough for now. Just kind of smack you, get you to wake up, let this marinate, let it sink in, and then the next time that we talk, as we further our conversation, you're gonna be primed and ready. Because really what we're doing here is we're trying to create an opening to go deep here together. So we need you to be opened up and ready to learn, okay? Just like in the tentacle anime video, okay? Opened up, we need to open the holes, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in this tentacle of new information, and we're gonna take you to the promised land. So thanks very much for getting started with this. And we'll see you in the next vid.